Hello, I'm Karen Capenteris, Associate State Director for AARP here in Michigan. And today we're going to talk with the 4 winners from the AARP 2021 Community Challenge Grant program here in Michigan. Let me tell you a little bit about the Community Challenge Grant. It is a part of a nationwide AARP Livable Communities initiative that helps communities become great places to live for people of all ages. Sorry about that. Let me tell you a little bit about the AARP Community Challenge Grant. It is an initiative that helps communities become great places to live for residents of all ages. The program is intended to help communities make immediate improvements and jumpstart long-term progress. In 2017, when we started this program, nationally we received 1,200 applications and gave out $780,000 to 88 projects across the country. Well, it has grown considerably. In 2021, we received nationally 3,560 applications and gave out more than $3.2 million to 244 grantees. Now, these projects are located across all 50 states, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Quick housekeeping: how do you ask questions if you're interested in hearing more about these projects? Utilize the comment section there on Facebook and YouTube, and we will get your questions here on this side of the program. Now I would like to bring on our grantees, representatives from the communities and organizations who won the grantees. I'd like to bring on John Lindenmeyer from the League of Michigan Bicyclists. And hi there. I'd like to welcome Kathy Anger from the city of Hamtramck. And please welcome Peggy Du from the American Chinese Association.
Hi, everyone.
And Xining Zhang from the Eastern Michigan University. Welcome, all of you. Very excited to chat with you today about your projects. So let's start with John. John, can you tell me a little bit about what you do with the League of Michigan Bicyclists and what the League of Michigan Bicyclists does?
Sure. Well, thanks, Karen. Again, I'm John Lindenmeyer. I'm the Executive Director for the League of Michigan Bicyclists. So we are a statewide nonprofit organization. We've been around since 1981. So we're actually celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. So we're excited about that. But our mission is to improve life through bicycling. And so we've had the privilege over the years to work on a variety of issues with AARP, mobility issues such as complete streets and getting more people walking and biking. But we work on our mission really on three-legged stool, advocacy, education, and promotion. So we do a lot of work to promote bicycling, bike events, encourage ridership. We do a lot of advocacy work down at the state capitol on various issues that affect the safety and availability of bicycling in communities around the state. And then we work to educate drivers, bicyclists, law enforcement, all users that play a role in keeping the roads safe here in Michigan. So I really appreciate being part of this and look forward to hearing about all the other grant winners.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Kathy Anger, can you tell us your role at the city and tell us a little bit about Hamtramck? It's a little bit of an unusual community.
Yeah, well, thank you, Karen, and I'm really pleased to be here with the rest of the awardees. Again, my name's Kathy Anger, and I'm the city manager of the second fastest growing city in the state of Michigan by our most recent census. We have We are Hamtramck, and we are located, if you were to look at the city of Detroit as a donut, we would be the hole in the center of the donut. And so we are a very urban city with upwards of about 30,000 residents and 2.1 square miles. Our census came out a little below 30,000, but during COVID and during the tough time that we collected, we still believe we've exceeded 30. We just may not have all been counted. We also hold the distinction of being the most diverse city in the state of Michigan. Our residents come from places like Yemen, Bangladesh, Bosnia, all the Eastern European countries, now some African countries in Egypt. We've been home to refugees. We've been voted the most walkable city in the state of Michigan. And the Community Challenge Grant was important to us because even though we're a very walkable, dense city, our seniors have a tough time getting around. And so this grant will certainly be helpful to allowing them to have more mobility on an equitable basis in our city. So thank you for that. And I hope that you'll come visit Hamtramck and see the results of this grant. And I'm excited to hear from the other awardees as well.
Yeah, I love Hamtramck. You guys have some of the best food.
It's true. It's true. If you haven't tried our food, you have to come for that. And, I just want to give a shout out to our community economic development staff who worked on this grant, to EMU for working with us, Eastern Michigan University, that's my alma mater, and then also our mayor and council and community. The community embraced this grant and are excited about the implementation. So for us, it's not just about writing a grant and putting it on the shelf. It's about the community embracing it and saying, yes, this is the kind of quality of life we want here.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Peggy, can you tell us your role at the American Chinese Association and what the association does?
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peggy Du. I'm the interim executive director of the Association of Chinese Americans. ACA, we are founded in 1972. Actually, we are celebrating our 50 years old this year. And we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. And we are the founding chapter of OCA National, which currently have over 50 chapters across the United States. In our 49 years service to the community, ACA has promoted the general welfare of the Chinese Americans and the Asian Pacific American community through policy advocacy and community engagement, educational and leadership training program, and health and social services for the most vulnerable members of our community. ACA's mission is dedicated to advancing the social, educational, political, and economic well-being of the Asian Pacific Americans in the United States. We have 3 service centers across the Metro Detroit in Wayne County, Oakland County, and Macomb County. So we play a leading role in reaching the life of Asian Pacific Americans in the Metro Detroit area as well as the Washington County. So through our daily services, we directly serve over 5,000 people per year.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you. All right. And last but not least in any respects, Xining Yang, can you please tell us your role in, you have a couple of roles. You are representing Eastern Michigan University as a professor of geography, and you also, let me make sure I get this right, are representing the Center for Health Disparities, Innovations, and Studies at Eastern Michigan University. So tell us a little bit about your involvement with this grant.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me, Karen. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Xining Yang from Eastern Michigan University, Associate Professor of Geography, and also one of my role is an affiliate professor in the Center for Health Disparity, Innovation, and Studies. Our center currently houses a 5-year project funded by Center for Disease Prevention and Control with the leadership of Dr. Zhu Ying Wu. Our mission of the center is to improve lives by reducing health disparities in the underserved population and communities through services, education, research, and training. Glad to be here, and thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. All right, so now we're going to get into the meat of things. John, I'm going to start with you. You have, League of Michigan Bicyclists is a statewide organization, but you really work at the community level a lot. I know that from our work together on Complete Streets. So very exciting project that you submitted and won the grant for. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so first of all, big thank you to AARP. We really appreciate the Community Challenge Grant. This has been a project that we've been kind of kicking around the last few years on our wish list, and looking for the right opportunity to find the funding to implement it. So big thank you, gratitude. And our project is called Bike Wave, and it's a mobility project to help communities do pop-up demonstration projects that are focused on improving bicycle safety and pedestrian safety. And so it's named after a big part of the project is it's called a wave delineator. It's a product made in Minnesota, and I'll kind of hold up a picture here if I can. That's kind of an aerial view and a profile view, just so you can kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about, but has that undulating wave shape. And what it's used for is to create pop-up protected bike lanes. So communities can do a pilot project, a demonstration project, get community buy-in before they make significant investments in infrastructure. And so with the support of AARP, we're able to invest in a large quantity of these wave delineators that we can now deploy in a lending library. And we're really excited to get our first projects off the ground here this fall still, and then continuing in the spring of 2022. But what we know is there is a really large community of folks, including the aging community, who is interested but concerned about bicycling. And so our work around Complete Streets has shown us if you build it, they will come. So if you make the infrastructure feel safe and comfortable, more and more users will go out and bicycle, whether that's for recreation or for transportation purposes around the community. And so this kind of takes the traditional bike lane, which is just a stripe of paint down the road, to the next level. There's a physical barrier between the motorist and the bicyclist. And well, it's not, these are fairly lightweight. They're about 10 pounds a piece, and they're easy to move and fast to implement. We know that protected bike lanes improve safety significantly in studies that have done across the country and in communities that have more permanent versions of these. So the idea of this really is to do these pilot projects, have this equipment available so communities, have basically a zero cost entry to do a pilot project and get that community feedback, gather the data. And the long-term goal, obviously, is to make these permanent changes and, do these road conversions, these road diets where you can carve out safe space for bicyclists. Another component of the Bike Wave project is we have bike counters. So kind of like you've seen when they do traffic studies for vehicles, we can help communities do before and after studies now, actually count how many bicyclists will use a space, especially after you deploy something like the Bike Wave. So we were able to invest in that equipment. And then the last part is kind of the pedestrian component. We know, especially folks who have any sort of mobility issues, crossing the road can be a dangerous thing. And the infrastructure is not always built for folks that may need longer time to get across. So we have some additional equipment that we were able to buy with this grant to do curb extensions to kind of show communities, what could you do if you, narrowed that gap between the crosswalk to make it easier to get across. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell. We're really excited. Later this week, we'll be implementing the equipment for the first time in Chelsea. And so they'll be piloting a project for most of the month of October. And then as we go into November, the equipment will be heading over to Detroit for a project there. And then we already have a lot of interest for the spring and summer of next year. So we're excited that this is certainly not going to be a one and done. Now that we have the equipment, we're excited that we'll be able to kind of continue these pilot programs across the state as communities express interest.
Excellent. And I know bicycling numbers, people who were bicycling really skyrocketed during COVID. So, it's a great, I'm all for safety. So
it did. It did. We saw a big increase in bicycling. So that was amazing. And we're seeing e-bikes as one of the fastest growing subsectors of bicycling. And we know the aging community is gravitating towards that. And it's allowing a lot of folks to continue bicycling or have new mobility options. Sadly, part of that, though, we also saw an increase in injuries and fatalities. And so this kind of ties those things together. We know more people are interested in bicycling, more people are bicycling, but we have to make sure we provide that safe infrastructure to accommodate those users. So,
very good. Well, thank you. All right, I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to go to Professor Xining Yang and ask you to please tell us about this alley activation project, and what is it going to encompass? How are you involving the community in this, and what are you hoping that the outcome will be?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to give a shout out to our project coordinator, Jessica Donnelly. She has been a great asset in our team. Also, shout out to City of Hamtramck. So this is a joint effort that we put together an application. So basically, the alleyway activation project that we are proposing, and also thank you to AARP, is something that we have been start doing from 2018 by an initiative to create a safe built environment by connecting destinations and provide a walkable environment for people. So we have an active Hamtramck coalition that has commissions from the city, like beautification commission, art commission. Also, we have representative from our Asian American group, from Backpack, the Bangladesh community, Yemenis community, also the kids from Hamtramck high schools, public school system. So through this coalition meetings, we learned what's the needs in the Hamtramck. And also, I want to shout out to the Joe Louis Greenway project. So from there, we learned that there is a great opportunity, the 27.5 miles pathway in the Metro Detroit region. And one of the segments is actually coming through the city of Hamtramck. So basically, one idea we learned is that there is opportunity to use the existing alleyway network and make it a livable space and create some safe place for people to gather and also to improve the accessibility. So our plan, first of all, we have one program called a cleanup event, because if we look into some of these conditions of the alley, we need to do some work before we actually start putting things together. So that is something we work closely with the Beautification Commission and also Hamtramck High School to set up some agenda on the cleanup event in the alley. And then also we have a pop-up event, which we are hoping to, just like John mentioned, we are hoping to try to create some temporary bike lanes to let people try it out whether you can bike in this alleyway, and also ADA friendly crossing and traffic calming measures on roads adjacent to this alley. Another component in this AARP grant, we are trying to bring in the art initiative, because like Kathy just mentioned, Hamtramck is such a diverse community. So we really want to bring in the different, people's art perspective. So one thing we are trying to do is to do a placemaking project. So we have already talked to 4 business owners and got the permission so that we will have some murals and art paintings on their wall that is adjacent to the alley. So that altogether, we're hoping to create a pilot demonstration just to get a community buy-in, having a better engagement with the local residents, and try to present this as a future possibility for Joe Louis Greenway project.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. And I for all of you, definitely, like I said prior to this, starting, make sure you invite me. I'd love to come see, see your projects. So, all right, we're going to move to Kathy. Tell us about the, you have a kind of a twofold piece from my understanding of this. You're going to have some benches and then promoting, publicizing the bus routes.
Well, and the good part of this is, as you heard from the previous speaker, we're layering a lot of different opportunities together. So this grant gave us the opportunity for the city to continue our mission for a healthy Hamtramck. So for years, we've been investing in our parks. We are a part of the Joe Louis Greenway, and our bike lanes are to be installed. The final plans are at MDOT right now. And we're doing several different initiatives in those improvements to make for that higher quality of life that attracts residents and retains residents and brings outsiders to our community when they come on that Joe Louis Greenway to visit us. And I was really interested in what John was saying too. I was glad to learn about his grant initiative because those bike counters will be a real nice thing in Hamtramck. I know I want to get with you after this. So this was really helpful, Karen. This allowed us to reach out to a population that may be bikers, may not be bikers, but certainly are pedestrians. In our dense city, we have a lot of people that do not own a vehicle, and they are happy to be here because they can walk, use public transportation, can use a bicycle to get around and not have to own a car. Quite often, and because our bus route does leave Hamtramck, not only can they find what they need here pretty much, but if they cannot, that bus will take them somewhere else. But what we found is that people of a certain age, thank you AARP for recognizing this, that it could be tedious to stand and wait for that public transportation. So what our project is installing benches at those locations where people generally bus to and from. So we're doing that at our senior center, at our housing project, at some areas that have several doctor offices, dentist offices, et cetera, and placing them strategically throughout the city so that our residents, our AARP eligible residents and others will use that public transportation. How does that help a healthy community and a higher quality of life? Well, when we don't have as many cars on the road, our air is easier to breathe. We don't have that constant movement in traffic and the pedestrian dangers that John mentioned at intersections. And so we're trying to get our people to use public transportation, bicycles, and walk in our community. But it's on the city to make it safe. And so this Community Challenge Grant is giving us that opportunity. Also, I mentioned earlier, the first time I spoke about the diversity here. If Hamtramck does anything well, the thing we're trying to do well and better each time we do it is use the diversity and the different languages and make sure that we are communicating the way people communicate most easily. English as a second language is at over 50% in our community. We know that well over 50% of our community are foreign born and maybe first time in an English speaking community. Our school, it's upwards of, the professor mentioned Hamtramck Public Schools. At any time, they'll say 26 to 30 languages spoken there. And so we know that we have to reach out to our community in different ways in order to have them participate. When we were first working on this grant, the professor's correct. We have a strong coalition of community members that give us input. And one of the things that they've told us is, speak to us in a language we understand and we'll participate in anything. Mm-hmm. So we're excited to provide, transportation options, improve the quality of life, make it equitable, provide access. And with this grant, thank you, AARP, we are going to be able to take one step closer to being able to do that. And so one of the things I wanted to mention is that the city, this alley project, one source of funding is never enough, whether it comes out of our pocket, another grantee that sees something important. We're able to get through a CDBG grant 2 more sections of alley paved. So the section that the professor was speaking of, that entire Caniff to Holbrook section in our commercial corridor that will be home to the Joe Louis Greenway will be fully newly paved. And so we had portions of it paved. Now it's taken us to the rest. The mural project will be beautiful. We'll be able to do alley activation events where we, close it only to pedestrian and bike and have an event in the evening. So it's exciting that all of this has come together this season for this community and for those who visit here. So thank you again.
Yeah. Well, AARP is pleased to work with communities on these things. It's so exciting to hear all the things that are happening. And I'm going to move to Peggy now. Peggy, can you tell us what the grant that you have is going to be able to do?
Yeah, thank you, Karen. I was very excited to hear about the other projects funded by the AARP Community Challenge Grant. And first of all, I want to thank AARP. And for ACA, I want to give a shout to our board members and to come up with the idea. So our project is called Lohas Park. So Lohas is stand for Lifestyles of Health and Sustainability. So with the grant support of AARP, we are able to start the first phase of our Lohas Park. So our Chinese Community Center is located in Madison Heights. And this building we purchased in 2005. We have a huge parking lot. So before we already have a home garden managed by our volunteers year round. So as we all know, Michigan and the winter is so long. So the first idea we come is okay, so we should build a greenhouse to extend the growing season of the vegetables and the flowers to live longer. So especially during the pandemic, we saw the increasing needs of the mental health of our community members, especially our seniors. So we are the place they feel safe to stay. And with the increasing anti-Asian hate last year, so they say we really need a safe place. So we are thinking about to renovation our parking lot. It's the east side of our parking lot, around 12,000 square feet. So that our plan is to build a park for our community members. So with the funding support, we're going to build a greenhouse to extend the growing season. And also we're going to build a gazebo so that people can have some light exercise outside, fresh air, and some light exercise and some communications. And as well as we are going to build a few benches for our seniors to take a rest when they're enjoying the environment. So this is a really very excited project. So as well as this is the first phase. And the second phase, we're trying to purchase some exercise equipment. So it will be a very safe space, and for people, for seniors, for community members, for all the local communities to come to our center to enjoy. So that our center, we hosted a few vaccine mobile clinics where we not only serve the unlimited English proficiency community members, also some community members who live nearby. So I think we try to use this as a pilot project to make our community more green, so people can enjoy the healthy food from garden to table, the organic food. So we are trying to promote healthy living style and to let people know more about different cultures and some communications. And I know some organization from other Asian community like Hamtramck, we are trying to say we have a Tai Chi class together. So I'm very excited. I think with the transportation and all the challenges being resolved, and with the bike and with everything, we can make our community all connected. So let the love flow. So we can all enjoy all the green thing, all the healthy style together. So I'm really excited about that.
That's very exciting. Yes. And I love how really in not realizing this going into this, but all of these are connected in some way. So this is very cool. Very cool. All right. I want to, we don't have any questions that have come in, and we're at about 30 minutes, which is where we want it to be. So what I want to say is for anybody watching, if you have any questions about any of these projects, or you will find the email addresses for John, Kathy, Shining, and Peggy in the comments section. So feel free to reach out to them with questions. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add to share with our audience?
I'd just like to mention that it's exciting to partner with, our one partner from Hamtramck here, with the professor, but also like you, Karen, to realize the connectivity between these projects. And so I'm going to make sure that John and Peggy are also on my email list. I'll be reaching out because the things that we're doing can benefit our community and others nearby. So I appreciate the work you're doing. And Karen, again, I know all of us feel the same way, that without AARP, these projects wouldn't have been possible. So I'm grateful to AARP, and we look forward to sending you invitations to visit our projects, and also to make sure that in the future that we keep communicating about the success of them.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. I will be visiting. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Your projects are fabulous. Thank you for all that you're doing in the community. John, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just going to say thank you.
All right. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.